Did
Well,
you
I
just
clicked the
cut
wrong
the
button, so
intro?
we're live.
Oh my gosh!
Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone.
How excited are
Welcome.
you today? Go, Steve.
Hey, everybody. If you were over there on that 24/7 stream, and you may have noticed that there was some venting going on at the bottom of booster number 3, well, that looks like a good reason to me to go live. So I am Stephen Marr. I'm one of the photographers here for NASA Space Flight, and I am joined by my good pal Jack Byer over here. Jack, are you there?
I am indeed here. What's up, Steven? Look at this. We've got
Look
booster
at it.
3 on pad A. It's got all frosty there, which means we are progressing into a potential cryogenic proof test here, where they fill the booster up with liquid nitrogen and treat it like a giant steel balloon and see if it will pop. Hopefully it doesn't. But
Yeah,
that's what we're watching for here today, right?
yeah, no pop, no pop. And with us today, pulling switches and hitting levers, we've got one Michael Baylor. How you doing,
Yeah, I don't
Michael?
know if you want to, if you want, don't, you should not tell them I'm the one that just screwed up, but
I'm not going to tell them that.
I got
I'll
I
let
got a
you
new
do
thing, and apparently I need to practice using it, because I was supposed to be queuing up Danger Cam, not putting it on air. Whoops.
it. And we also have John Galloway, also known as DOS,
Hey,
over
what's up,
there.
y'all? How's it going?
I think we might have to bring you back, Doss, as the primary operator, because
I'd say you're fired, but I don't want you to be fired, Michael. Thank you for the help.
Well, these things happen. We're live. This literally comes to you live as the buttons are being pushed. Doss and Michael are selecting camera views to give you the best look at the very first cryogenic test of a Starship Super Heavy. And this is actually pretty exciting. We know that they've already accomplished the ambient test, but this is where they're going to pump it full of liquid nitrogen, get it nice and cold, make sure all the valves and pipes and all the little bells and whistles inside are still working, even at those cryogenic temperatures. Yeah, so I wonder, are we expecting it to fill all the way up, or what kind of expectations do we have today?
A really good question. I don't think they have, and I don't know this, but I don't think they have enough capacity in their tank farm right there to fill the entire thing with liquid nitrogen. So if you guys remember, they're still building the orbital launch pad, and right now you can see the booster is at the suborbital launch site, which is where we saw all of the other Starship prototypes and test tanks and everything tested at. It's really just across the property from the orbital launch site. But point being, the tank farm at this location is sized for Starship testing, not for super heavy testing. So I'm unclear as to how much volume they have available in that tank farm, and I don't know to what extent maybe they could fill up instead of filling up the methane tanks and the LOX tanks at the tank farm with methane and LOX, maybe they just fill everything up with liquid nitrogen and maximize the capacity that they have, because I believe those tanks can take either, but a little bit of speculation on my part there.
Yeah, that is interesting. I hadn't really thought about that. How do you store it all if you got all these tanks for liquid methane and liquid oxygen? Can you just replace that? I guess I just assumed that they'd have it in the tanks just sitting there all the time, but
Yeah, I mean,
probably not the
I
case.
know nitrogen is used for purging in certain situations, so it could very well be that they just treat it like a purge and empty them out. I don't know, but that is why we are seeing so much construction over at the orbital tank farm on the orbital side of the launch site, and all of the work on the GSE tanks and the cryo shells and all that is because they're going to need a massive amount of capacity of liquid oxygen and liquid methane in order to support super heavy boosters and launching. So that's a little bit of fun inside baseball right there. But look at how much condensation is coming off of this thing right now, and
Yeah,
it even looks like a little side vent. I don't know if that's like a hole that's just been cut in the skirt there. You see those 3 holes, sort
oh
of.
yeah,
That looks super cool right there as we get more and more a significant condensation coming out of the booster there. And you can see the feed lines going into the side there are all frosty and
yeah,
good and frosty. So that's what we want to see. They're definitely loading this thing full of liquid nitrogen right now.
yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think those are just holes kind of in the skirt there. I don't think those are vents. But
Is
hey, I'm
there's a
prepared to be
little yeah
wrong.
there is. There's a little bit of a skirt, but I think you can actually see how big the skirt is because that start. What are those things called, Jack? Those verticals, the stiffeners,
Fingers.
uh, hi- ringers. Thank you. Higher up, that is where the thrust puck is attached. So the Raptors on Super Heavy actually stick out below, and if you look really closely, just to the left of the support beam, the triangular support beam closest to the center, just to the left of that, behind that venting, you can see a raptor peeking out when the venting kind of dissipates. So it's going to be really cool when they do static fire testing because we're going to see the raptors, and when they do gimbal tests, we're going to see the raptors wiggle.
Oh yeah, that'll be a nice departure from the norm. Yeah, because they're tucked up in there and you can't really see them. And right now we've only got one raptor on there, right?
Yep,
Correct.
that's correct.
Is that
Okay.
what we can see there to the left? It's you can
Yep,
actually
right
see
there.
the raptor just sort
Yes,
of
that's
hanging
what I
out, which
said.
is
Just to the left.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's just wild. But I mean,
And actually, right as we kicked off the 24/7 stream, they were doing the moving the cryo shell, and there just happened to be a raptor pass by. Now, I don't know the lay of the land too well. I can't like just look at these views and know exactly where, which way to production site or launch site. Was it going to or from the production site, or like
going
where
from
what
it was going
yeah.
from the launch site to the production site. So a lot of people thought that there was two Raptors installed on the booster. They did try to install that second one. It looked like they tried multiple times to get it installed. I'm not sure why they didn't or couldn't. Maybe they were just doing fit checks. I don't know. But they carted that Raptor back away from the launch site, took it back to the production site, and yeah, that's what we saw right at the beginning of our 24/7 stream there, which was pretty great. Pretty great way to kick off what is really a great deal of effort into that 24/7 stream. So thanks to everyone who came out for that, and check that out whenever you get a chance.
Yeah, and a lot of y'all have actually today. There's been a lot of people checking out the 24/7 stream. Thank you for checking it out. It actually has been a long time coming. That has been it's been worked on for more than a year. When I first joined NASA spaceflight, it was like, what is this thing is coming? Oh my gosh, I got to keep this under my hat. Oh no! But I know that Doc, you had the Bluebird cam there for a long time, and
Yep.
kind of played a part in the development of this, right?
If anybody remembers my Bluebird camera, the Bluebird stream that I was running over on Twitch, some of the technologies that I was working on for that were released today as part of the 24/7 stuff. So this has been a very long time coming. We've been working on making this stable, and then FleetCam as well. FleetCam was another sort of test bed where 24/7 remote unattended cameras. How do we manage those? How do we talk to them? How do we recover when there's issues? All of those sorts of things have sort of culminated in renting,
Oh,
apparently.
listen. Oh, that was cool.
Yeah. So a ton of work. It's been a long time coming, Steven. But all the way back to those original Bluebird streams were some of the first remote control 24/7 unattended tech that we were using in preparation for things like this.
Yeah. Well, it's worked out great. It looks great. I mean, and you could split it into split screens and change cameras and move the cameras around. It really looks great. And actually, today was my first time actually seeing it. I mean, I've seen a lot of these views before, but then I saw Dawson Michael were working on something, and I was just kind of looking, and I heard him talking, and they're like, "Are you ready to go? You ready to go? You ready to hit live?" And it was so funny. They were so excited to hit go, and when they finally did, and everybody started jumping in there, and we saw all the thank yous and everything, and Jack was in there chatting it up with you guys. It's really cool to have the support, and it's important to note that stuff like that would not be possible without all your support, all your super chats, memberships, ordering stuff from the store, all that stuff. We're not just buying donuts with that money. It's used to go towards buying robots and cameras, and sending DOS. DOS is taking several trips down there to
That audio. By the way, audio is
yeah,
live.
an audio, and it sounds great. Yeah, Yeah, but Doss has been down there several times to set this stuff up, make sure it's going to work. So yeah, thank you so much for the support. It literally would not be possible without it. Let's see. Let's see if we've got any questions here. I see that somebody's queued up some worth asking. Jack Daniel said, any idea what the engine chill vent will look like? Is it going to be a triconda? Tri?
Yeah, I was trying to
Somebody
figure
else
out
gotta read that.
how to say that. Triacontra. Yeah, I'm not even gonna. But
Tricon to trigon.
yeah, I don't even. But I threw that in the queue because we were a few minutes ago talking about those little vents there in the skirt. Those three, not vents. They're just look like holes that have been cut in the skirt right there.
Right.
And those don't look like a vent. They just look like holes in the skirt. But yeah, at some point we're gonna see what the engine chill venting kind of looks like on this vehicle. Which, if you remember on Starship, it was 3 vents. Well, one sort of for each engine is what we inferred. But there are going to be 30 something or 28 or many more engines than 3 on Superhead. Gosh, that sounds so cool.
Isn't that cool?
That sounds so cool.
I'm glad that's working.
Live.
So yeah, there's going to be lots more engines on this than a Starship, and so we're all curious what sort of manifold the vents for those engines will be looking like, and if they'll all be piped into one, or if there'll be 3 again, and they just, they all join up somewhere, or what that'll look like. But I don't think we'll
Octavent.
know. Yeah, right. Not Septa, Ultra. Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah, Decavent.
something. We will have to keep our eyes open for that, and when we see it, oh, you better believe we're going to be excited.
Yeah.
It will never be known how we get that audio because it's super hacky, and I don't think it should be known.
Yeah, I'll keep my mouth shut on that.
You're embarrassed by the Rube Goldberg machine that is bringing us live audio from the pad?
Will say, though, the number of times I was out there deploying a mic and it was like, all right, now touch your nose, now touch the ground, now touch the box in case it's not grounded, just trying to get rid of all little bits of interference, and it's definitely, hey, it works. The audio sounds amazing.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, just hearing that hiss, that sort of quiet hiss going. Like at first it just sounds like noise and you're like, wait a minute. No, that's like it's like the sound of like a factory or something, like that's awesome. Let's see what else we got here. We got James Thompson says that is not what James Thompson said. James Thompson said, if it pops and falls onto the tank farm, will the tank farm survive? Is it close enough? Oh, yeah, it is close enough, isn't it? Or is the tank farm actually further away? It just looks like it's right next to it.
I would totally hit the tank farm. Define survive. What is your definition of survive? That piece of Earth would still exist. There might be a few crushed tanks on it, so it's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say exactly what would happen, but it suffice to say if it popped or crumpled, like SM3 did, and it fell onto the tank farm, that would not be great. But we are hoping for no pop today. No hashtag no pop.
Yes, no pop. And being that it doesn't have flammable liquids in there, that's an important thing to note as well. Nitrogen is used because it's an inert gas. It doesn't catch on fire. In fact, most of the atmosphere is nitrogen. Most of that stuff you're breathing, it ain't oxygen. That's like a small percentage of it. Most of it's nitrogen. It's an inert gas.
That said,
Thank
do
goodness.
not go breathing nitrogen-rich atmospheres. NSF not responsible for accidental asphyxiation.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Inert. I don't think inert.
I like it.
I'm gonna
Good
have to-
practice to be quiet as soon as it makes a noise.
Yeah. We're getting there. I'm dialing it in. Yeah. Don't breathe nitrogen. Thank you very much.
Pure nitrogen.
Pure nitrogen. Yes, it should be stated. You're breathing it right now, like it or not. Let's see. Does the nitrogen run through the engines? That is a good question. I know they don't like spool up the engines, but does it go through the piping of the engine?
I don't know. That's a good question. And we have another question here. People asking if the Raptor itself has a vent on it that's going, and I can't quite see that. There's just a lot of condensation there, but I don't know. That's a question I don't know the answer to, because I think normally they would be chilling down a Raptor with liquid oxygen,
Yeah.
Or maybe even liquid methane. I'm not quite sure which one I think it's liquid oxygen is what they use to chill down Raptor. So I don't know if they would do that with nitrogen and treat it as a purge, if that would be something they could do. I'm not sure. I think right now what we're seeing is, yeah, you know what? Look at that. It does kind of look like
It
that Raptor is venting.
it sure does. I'm gonna blow this up. Usually, y'all, I've got this panel up that shows me all the questions. I'm gonna full screen on the video right now just to get a better look.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's coming from Raptor.
I'm trying to
Are we
see if there's-
here? Do we have a time on? Somebody got a stopwatch?
Oh, you're gonna time the. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's a
That's
good
a good idea, right?
Yeah, why not? You're channeling our Adrian here. Hopefully, Adrian, are you out there? Are you watching? Yeah, Adrian's watching. I'm
It
sure we're
does-
gonna have a new spreadsheet, but for booster testing.
Yeah, it does seem to be fairly regular. Maybe like once a minute or once every 2 minutes or something like that. So maybe if I can remember, I'll hit the stopwatch like whenever next time we hear it, and then we'll see how long the gap is between them.
Something tells me chat will remind us at least.
Yeah. Has anyone seen where the vents are coming from? I've been trying to look at the right camera frame to see if I can see any vapors coming from higher up the vehicle, but it's hard to see.
It looks like it's all coming from underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got the one that's actually coming from the Raptor, or so
I mean,
so it
when we
would
hear
appear.
the sound, like when we hear the audible sound, where is that coming from? I guess. Is the
Oh,
question.
gotcha. Okay.
That's a really good question. I imagine one of the vents higher up, perhaps near the common bulkhead. One of those vents up there near the top of the tank, like relieving gaseous pressure as they fill it with liquid, or maybe as the liquid heats up. But yeah, I think we've seen in like some of St. Mary's photos of the common dome area that there are some vents there, sort of in the same way that Starship had. If you remember where the raceway on Starship sort of petered out near the top 2/3 of the vehicle, there was a couple vents up there. So I suspect it'll be similar for Super Heavy.
All right. Let's go to some questions. Matt asks.
So many interesting questions today.
Yeah.
They all sound like.
That is not what Matt said. I heard what Matt said. That is not what he said. Okay. Did Starship have those two pipes going into the right? I don't remember. Let's see. Oh yeah, the ones that are actually frosting over right now. I don't remember seeing it look like that. I mean, right now what you've got is it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a lot of the stuff is on the outside right now.
Yep.
Sort of like when you build a first prototype. I was
It's easier
never
to
like
access everything, right? Versus when
Yeah.
it's all tucked away and behind a fairing or something.
right. And once you've proved it, and you know that the design works, then you go and you make everything look nice and finished, and put all that stuff on the inside. Because obviously, whenever Starship flies, Super Heavy is not going to have all this cabling on the outside. It'll have some. It'll have like a raceway sort of thing, but yeah, it won't have all that stuff on the outside.
Oh, but this
Um,
this feeds into another question here, where Starship did have those two pipes, but they were smaller. They still needed pipes to connect from the tank farm to the vehicle, but they were smaller. And if you look at the staircase on the right side of the pad there, and then use your eyes to follow the top of the pad left, sort of where those the white frosty prop lines start going vertical. Right in that area there's a big metal box, which I think is where those quick disconnects are for Starship. So like when they disconnected before launch, that sort of hardware would kind of get pulled back into that box and closed off for not
The
getting
Starship
roasted.
quick disconnects are inside, where they go up inside the base of the aft skirt. Like we
Yeah.
were mentioning earlier, there is not much of an aft skirt on Super Heavy. So on this booster, the connections are on the outside, which is why they're more visually apparent as well.
Yeah, and the whole entire booster is on an adapter, which has been fabricated for the purposes of allowing the booster to sit on this pad, which was nominally, to be used for Starship. So that was another question we had here in the panel where, let's see, where was it? Yeah. it does have a special platform thing that it is sitting on. Good question from John.
Yeah, yeah, it's sitting up higher than Starship by itself.
Which is nice, easier to see Raptor Town. Plus also the no skirt.
Yeah, Raptor Town. Let's see. Alex Foss, is a static fire possible today or soon? Well, we were just actually discussing that before we went live, and it's possible that there could be one tomorrow if this goes well. Uh, and at the same time, I think the assumption is they're probably going to throw a couple more Raptors in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, they had the other one, like we were talking about earlier, at the launch pad, and maybe that was just for fit checks, or maybe they'll throw, one or two or a couple more on. I don't, I don't think they would throw many more than a handful of Raptors on. I could be
Yeah.
proven wrong. I think pretty recently, I feel like I was saying on a stream that we didn't expect them to static fire Booster 3, but here we are, where they're putting Raptors on it and they're doing a cryo proof, so it seems like there's a good chance they could do a static fire. So I think these pads can handle 3 Raptors. We've seen them handle 3 Raptors with Starship flights. So my just completely out of the blue guess is they'll throw 3 Raptors on Booster 3 and do a static fire, maybe individually or maybe together. Who knows? But 3 Raptors would be my guess if I was a betting person.
All right. I'm waiting for that next event. I've got my stopwatch going here. I'm expecting it. It's not going to happen for me.
Adrian is messaging me like a boss because, of course, he is keeping track of all these things, and he's saying the vent times are not consistent. So
Ah. Okay. Well, then good. I can
seems
stop
arbitrary.
worrying about that. I'll
You can,
let Adrian worry
don't
about that.
don't let me discourage you from tracking it. Maybe there'll be a pattern or something. But so far, with the data points that we have, seems arbitrary. But
Okay.
that's what we do, right? But that's we just gotta sit here and sort of watch and hypothesize and through experience figure out what the heck is going on. I mean, it still kind of blows my mind the extent to which we and Adrian were able to sort of nail down the prop loading flow for Starship. So this is the very first one of these with the booster, and we are officially gathering data.
Yeah. Yeah. It has begun. Yeah. All right. Let's hit some of these super chats. Some people have, they want to show their support, and we want to show our appreciation for that. Rough Riders show getting in there nice and early, like as soon as we started. We appreciate you, Rough Riders. I will say this again: absolutely outstanding job by the live stream crew and pulling all of this off. Also, how many Raptors is Booster 3 going to have in total? I think we have a number on that. Didn't Mr. Musk finally say that they've nailed down what the number will be?
Yeah, but that was just a tweet about what Super Heavy would have, right? Not necessarily Booster 3 specifically, because
Oh, true. Yeah.
for one, Booster 3 isn't flying, as far as we know. And two, um, yeah, I just don't know that they would want to throw the full comp. And I think even some of these early Super Heavies might have like 28 engines, and then over time, as they get better about cleaning up Raptor and making it more packageable onto the aft section there, maybe they'll bump it up to 32 or 33. I think Elon said 33, right? I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the current goal for Booster 4, or if that is a future goal for boosters in general. In the same way that I think in the similar tweet or in the same thread or whatever, he also mentioned putting 3 additional vacuum engines on Starship for a total of 9 engines on Starship, 6 vacuum, 3 sea level, which kind of blew my mind. I had no idea there was room for that many vacuum engines on Starship, but that would be more efficient. It would be
Yeah.
a way to accomplish some of their goals. So, yeah, it's unclear how many Raptors 3 will get. I'm gonna guess Booster 3 gets 3 Raptors. That's just a guess though.
Yeah. Considering, if it doesn't go well, destroy as few Raptors as possible. Right.
Yep. Yeah, unless you're attempting an orbital flight, in which case destroy them all.
Yeah. Let's see. Taylor Van Camp, thanks for the new stream. Love it. Thanks, guys. Hope you all had a fantastic day. One question. What's that shiny tube-looking thing out at the pad? Taylor Van Camp, thank you. I'll say this. What it reminded me of when I first saw the view that's on the right side of your screen. When I first saw that view right there, it reminded me about when sometimes the signal would kind of hiccup and Starship would like stretch like the whole length of the frame. Right. You know what I'm talking about? You guys remember that? Like every once in a while, it'd just be like for a second. It'd be like burp, like the cell signal or something would kind of glitch
No,
there for a
that
second.
doesn't ever happen. The signal's
That
always
never happened.
Steve. Steve, come on. I know
Yeah,
what you're.
but that's what it reminded me of. Is like, oh, it looks like that.
It's just
But yeah,
secretly DOS is a big fan of data moshing. He's just really into data bending, and he's going to take your pixels and turn. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Sorry,
Well,
DOS.
no, the long stretch like that is like, oh, I stopped getting data. I might as well just continue repeating this for the rest of the frame. That's how you get big, long stretches like that. That's exactly what's happening. It's like, I don't have anything. I guess I'll just paste this over and over again. And then the signal comes back and it clears up. But this is for real. That's a real booster out there today that they are actively testing right now. I mean, look at the fog machine that's going there. That is an active test on Booster 3, B3, whatever you want to call it these days. So
A little bit of Starbase history right before our eyes, and not only that, some good old-fashioned tank watching. Of course, when
yeah.
you crack.
Oh, I forgot to wear my Tank Watcher shirt. Boy, well, I have my Festivus for the rest of us shirt on for you Seinfeld fans out there.
Nice.
Let's see. Josh Ritterhoff says already bumped up to Capcom because of the 24/7 stream earlier. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Wanted to throw a few more bytes worth of data over thanks to the cryo-proof test party in Booster Town. Well, thank you, Josh. We appreciate that. That helps us keep on rolling.
Mark, if you're listening, can we get a Booster Town USA or Raptor Town USA T-shirt? That'd be great.
Yeah, there you go. Musical Wolves getting in there. OMG, such event. Can't wait for 33 Raptors venting. Yeah, that is going to be. It's going to be hard to see. It's going to be getting a little foggy down there in Boca Chica. Let's see, Fandler. I'll just leave it at that. I'm sorry, that was probably way off, but I will read your question/comment. I don't know if you guys remember my name from the past, but now I have a bit of money again and wanted to donate some again. You guys still doing awesome work, and I hope this helps to improve some things. Well, we appreciate you, and we will put that to good use. There you go. Throw it up on the screen there. Let's see.
It does look familiar. I'm not going to try and pronounce it, though.
This is an interesting question. James Jury says, now that we have the 24/7 cam, can we have an NSF crew gaming stream soon? What would y'all play? Love the new coverage. Love you guys. That is an interesting question. I'd be down for it. I'm not sure that it is. I don't know that that's what we want to use the YouTube channel for. But we can talk about what we would play hypothetically.
Second channel.
NSF Gaming.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been thinking we're growing the team a little bit. You know, it'd be nice to have some team building stuff happen. And hey, what better way than fragging your friends on video games?
1-to-1 replica of Starbase in Minecraft.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, everybody could work on it. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I still think it's a big problem that we have one of the longtime I guess, well, now we've kind of taken over his life, but beforehand, one of the longtime KSP streamers on our team, and we have only streamed KSP for very short increments before launch live streams, I think. We seriously need to make the extended KSP stream happen at some point. It's like building a starship or something. It has to happen.
I'll build something awful, and DOS will ridicule me and tell me why it's awful, and also fix it.
And then rescue you.
Yeah, and in the process, everyone will learn how to make rockets that are less awful.
Well, you're probably playing on PC, so you've got one up on me because I'm playing that console version.
And there's no elitism here. Just play. If you can play it, play it.
Yeah. The game that to answer the question, what would we play? The game that I actually spend the most time playing is Rocket League. I've got a buddy up in Tennessee that we both started playing at the same time, and we still play quite a bit together.
I don't. I do not I tried hard. I bought a controller. I tried hard to be good at Rocket League because it's fun. It looks fun. It looks exciting.
Yeah.
But oh man, I'm just bad at it. I don't know if my like twitch reflexes are too slow or what, but I'm not good at Rocket League. But you do you. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It takes a long time to get good at, and I would not claim to be good. Anybody out there that plays Rocket League, you're probably like, well, what's your rank? I usually hover around like upper platinum, lower, what's above, lower diamond, upper like platinum 3 usually. Sometimes I sneak my way into diamond, but usually it's about platinum 3. Let's see. We've got a starship. Well, a super heavy. Let's talk about that. Um, let's go back to the question queue. Remember, you can get a question into our question queue by using @NASA Spaceflight. Just use it for the questions, and we will be able to see it on our fancy little panel that Michael made, and we'll hopefully get your question answered. We can't answer them all, but we do skim over these for the super interesting questions.
I have a
So,
question, Steven.
go ahead.
I'm kind of cheating a little bit because I get to jump the line and ask my own question. But all right, this is a hypothetical, okay? But bear with me. SpaceX changes names of things a lot, right? Like we used to call this vehicle BN3, booster number 3, and Starship's SN for serial number and whatever number the Starship. Now it's booster 3 and ship instead of SN. So it's just B and S instead of BN and SN. So anyways, SpaceX changes names a lot, right?
Right.
Let's say it's hypothetically 6 months from now, and they change the name of the booster from Super Heavy to something else. What do you think they change the name to?
Power rod.
I was just gonna guess booster because it's a further reduction of naming, like just booster and ship, and it's like, oh, what's launching today? Ship. Like I don't know.
Booster ship.
Yeah, it's booster ship. I don't know. I'm
How are you
curious.
gonna get to Mars? Booster
I,
ship.
Yeah, right. I sort of do wonder how the naming of this system will evolve, or if it'll just solidify into what it is right now. And it's Starship is the whole thing. It's also the second stage. The first stage is also Super Heavy, but the whole thing is also Starship. It's just I don't know. We'll see how the naming evolves. Probably, maybe it won't. Who knows? Anyways,
Yeah.
that's my goofy hypothetical question.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll split it. The booster will be star, and the ship will be ship.
Oh God, stop.
I like power rod myself.
I mean, solid. It's solid. It's solid. You can call it Thrusty McBoosterface. I don't know. Anyways.
Okay. Dan Snelson, I hear you got a question. Does the Raptor have a vent on it just to the left of the nozzle? Yeah, actually. We were discussing that a bit ago. You can't see it right this second, but if you just wait for the wind to sort of shift, you just keep your eyes. I'm hoping that you've already located the single Raptor that's there. You see the engine did anybody see where that came from?
No, but I heard it. It sounded
Every
awesome.
time I hear it, I just stare at the Raptor. And you know what? You know what? Because it catches my eye. When that sound happens, it does look like maybe there's so much force it kind of clears out some of the fog that's underneath there, and
Oh, could
that's
be.
actually coming from no, because I could still see it. I take it back.
Just be coincidence.
Yeah, it could be.
Every time I hear the sound, I'm looking at the 24/7 feed, which I have up on a separate screen, and also the right side, the little picture-in-picture we have going, because I have a feeling it's going to either be around the middle, sort of top 2/3, or the top itself of the vehicle. But that's just me guessing here, based on how Starship kind of was, and it could also just be a vent down low that's just on the opposite side that we're looking at right now. So.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jack. Because I do not have. We have so many cameras, and it's hard for me to put. It's pretty much impossible for me to put them all on the screen at once and keep them big so you can easily see. But if you're curious, I wonder if the vent came on the opposite side of Super Heavy that we cannot see right now. All our other cameras are online right now on the 24/7 stream. So if you have multiple monitors, if I mean, everyone can put multiple tabs in the web browser at least. Feel free to switch back and forth, and those other cameras are now available 24/7. So if you want to see what's happening at the roadblock or whatever, that other stream is a great resource as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's almost
let
like
me
looking at the control center, right? Like the broadcast control center and seeing all the different cameras that are available and being able to look at all of them at once. Sorry, Das, go ahead.
No, let me talk about that real quickly. So we tried to figure out how are we going to manage the 24/7 cameras and then our live broadcast. Like when we turned on that stream earlier today, people were like, "Oh no more commentary streams, just this," and we're like, "No, we're going to do both." So we were trying to figure out, 24/7 is going and it's a curated stream. The cameras are switching to what's interesting and that sort of thing. And then a live stream with commentary spools up because there's a big test like this or something happening. And how do we manage those two things? So the decision we came up with is when we go live for a commentary stream like this, there's a big event, it's a flight, it's a launch, whatever it is. We are going to switch the 24/7 cameras into we call it 4-box, but it's just all four cameras on the screen. It's not all the cameras we have, but it's 4 cameras on the screen at once showing various different angles. And then the commentary broadcast, we'll do our normal thing where we switch back and forth based on what we're talking about, what we're showing you. So at any given time, even if we're not showing those other cameras from Mars Cam or BCV or whichever on the main stream with the commentary here, you can go to the 24/7 stream. You can see that 4-box that has there's a roadblock camera up in a fourth of the stream, and there's the view from Mars Cam in the fourth of the stream, and a quarter of the stream you can see the beach cam. So it's a good sort of balance there where you can still see the cameras that are going in the background, even though we're even more heavily curating this for the broadcast. We're showing you, here's this, we're looking at that Raptor right there, et cetera, et cetera. So it's perfectly possible to switch back and forth between the two. Also, a special thing on that, during the live broadcast, we do take danger cam out of those 4 boxes. So some special organizational, operational things we do with danger cam. We do not show that on the 4 boxes because it's the big camera that we use here on the live broadcast. And then once the broadcast stops, like the hosted commentary broadcast stops, then danger cam will spool back up in a different mode and put itself back into the rotation for the 24/7 stream. But that was something I was trying to explain in chat on the 24/7, the Starbase live stream earlier. And I hope people sort of understood it. But I know a lot of people here are probably interested in, well, what's going on over there while it's over here? And are you going to forget one or do you shut one down? And no, it's going to stay live. And right now it's got 4 boxes with 4 of our different cameras in it. Not all the cameras we've got, but even when we're not showing them here, you can see them over there. Ooh, long-winded, sorry.
And on the same topic, Adrian just messaged me. He found the live event. It is up at the very top on just the bottom right-hand side of this camera. And it looks like from the screenshot he sent me, he was using that 24/7 stream to find it from different angles. But it is visible on the current camera we're using on the right, just the very top right of the booster on the rightmost camera when we hear that loud noise.
Okay. All right. Well, I will try to remember to look for that instead of every time I stare at the base.
I think the problem. What I was going to say is I think the problem is because it's on the rightmost camera and this camera is farther away than across the street, obviously, there's a sound delay. So
Right.
by
So
the
you
time
might
we
miss
hear
it.
it and look, it's already over. That's why we have
Right.
not found it, I think.
That could very well be.
But the upside of that is if we are eagle-eyed and we see it, then we can shut up and not talk over it because we will have seen it before we hear it.
That's true.
If we're eagle-eyed. I say that
If
as someone who's doing like 3 things at once right now.
Right. Yeah.
Is it getting
Let's see.
colored in the middle there, up around the top?
Yeah, condensation, I think.
It's condensation, right?
Yeah. Good
Huh.
catch.
So they're definitely doing something.
Unless it's just that later part, maybe the reflection is causing that. I don't know.
Oh no.
I don't know
They had
which
to do the old.
part.
Oh, you know what?
The
Michael?
A/B test.
I can do the A/B test on Starbase Live. I can go to the 24/7 stream and I can A/B test it.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. Jeb Kerman says, can you tell us or make any guesses about a water suppression system that might be installed at Starbase? Will we need a real water tower in Boca Chica? Hashtag the real water tower. it's possible not. I'll let someone else take it, but I had been out to Slick 41 a handful of times before I finally noticed that there's no water tower. So it's possible to have a water suppression system with no water tower.
Yeah, and they have. So, if you guys are familiar with the orbital tank farm, there are going to be some ground support equipment tanks that hold methane and liquid oxygen, and those are going to be over the top of those tanks. They're going to lower what we've been calling the cryo shells, which are an even larger tank-like structure that is going to go over the actual tanks and insulate them. One of those cryo shell type tanks is not a cryo shell, but is in fact a water tower. See, I wasn't eagle-eyed enough. So
Neither was I.
one of those is a big water tank, and it is, I believe, already at the orbital tank farm. So they are going to have a large volume of water to utilize for sound suppression, and it's just going to be moved around by pumps. To me, a water tower is a thing that a tank on tall legs that you rely on gravity to do some of the work there in terms of pressuring or flow or what have you. But so I don't know if we want to even call it a water tower. I personally wouldn't. Although Starhopper is totally a water. Oh, look at that! Look at that vent.
Oh, there we go.
All right, venting now.
Your ears. So
That's great. I love
All
it.
right.
I definitely
we-
want to point out that this is an extremely tall vehicle, as I'm sure you know, but it should be reiterated. This thing is big, and when you see plumes coming off the side of it like that are fairly large in comparison to the vehicle itself, try to use your knowledge of how big this vehicle is to scale those plumes in your head. Those are extremely energetic, massive plumes. Oh, here comes another one. Shh.
Eagle Eye Jack.
That's got to be like 30 feet of plume or something. Like that's insane. Super cool to see it blasting from all four sides, middle and top there. That was really nifty.
Yeah, that's great. Oh man, that's super cool. I'm so glad that's working. Chat, I hope that's not too loud for you.
Pretty loud.
Is it? I mean, it sounds fine in my ears, but I'm like wearing headphones and stuff.
It's like it's just slightly louder than us talking. It looks like. So let us know if that's annoying. I know it is louder, but it's my opinion. It sounds awesome. Let us know if you think it's too loud.
When I looked over there at the chat, the first thing I saw was louder. Someone requesting it to be louder. Oh man, super cool. Let's see. Let's go here. I want to hit some of these new members here. We got some new members. Becoming a member does have its perks, y'all. So think about becoming a member, supporting the stream on a regular basis, a once a month kind of thing, and then you get to join this Discord community that was created just for space nerds like yourself to talk about space stuff casually or technical stuff. All kinds of channels in there, including like the option to do like voice hangouts and stuff.
Those are fun.
So
Watch how
think
you
about.
may or may not get rickrolled by me in voice chat.
Oh, here comes Event. I think. All right.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a KSP channel in the Discord too, and there's a party channel where we post horrible cursed rockets that we make out of emoji. It's amazing. So definitely consider becoming a member because it helps us out so much. And I mean, just look at the 24/7 live stream that we launched today. That's not something that we would have been able to do without the support of our members and everybody hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, everybody that does the super chats, but especially our members. So you get perks, we get to do cool stuff and keep upping our game. So sorry, I talked over you there, Steven, but I'm hyped up. I really appreciate what the members have enabled us to do because holy cow,
No,
that 24/7 feed is just amazing, and it cannot be
it's
not be
cool.
overstated.
I'm just kind of going through and clicking to show them up on the screen. I missed that first one. This is AF is up there. We've got Archer. I'm guessing is how you're supposed to say that. There's a lot of venting activity going on. JC Davis, no kidding. Nulunit or Null Unit. There you go. Yeah, all of y'all, we appreciate you becoming a member. Some of y'all, I think, were already members. I think I recognize some of those names there. But we appreciate you keeping that membership going.
If their names are popping up again, it means they've changed or upgraded their membership. So thank you to all of our members who are upping their memberships too.
Heck yeah. All right, let's go back to questions. Prezi D, can the suborbital pad manage the weight of a fully fueled booster?
That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that, but if I was going to guess, I would say no. But that's a complete guess. I want to be clear about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know either. I hope y'all don't mind. We're gonna do our best to just kind of shut up. Whenever we hear that sound, we're just gonna.
It's so cool to hear this booster is coming to life. I mean, think of it as it's taking its first gasps of air.
Yeah.
In this case, liquid nitrogen, but you get it.
Speaking of which, I think I see a frost line forming. Do I? There towards like the upper part, the upper tank.
Yeah, you're talking right above the common bulkhead there, with that ring of stringers.
Thank you for the proper terminology.
Hey. Yeah,
I saw it better on the other angle, but
it's Sadie there. I see what you're talking about. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
from that angle, it's pretty apparent.
Yeah, but not so much at the bottom. It's not possible that they're only doing the top tank. Is the top liquid oxygen or methane?
Methane.
Okay, so top is methane. I would assume that they'd want to do both, just so
Yeah.
I don't know, just so it doesn't get top heavy. I mean,
At the very least, the liquid oxygen tank needs to be pressurized. I'm not sure if it needs to be full. Oh, look at that.
That's coming from the Raptor, no question. Isn't it?
I can't tell.
no question. I think 100% maybe.
It does. It
Looks
sure looks.
like
It sure looks.
It does. It really does.
tiny
Yeah.
little thing on the outside of the Raptor.
And again, and weird how this isn't making any noise. That's weird.
It's kind of fun to be in a situation where we're looking at stuff that we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We got so into a routine there with Starship testing that we sort of became comfortable with what was going on and knew what we were looking at most of the time. And this is just, we're in a completely, entirely new phase here, which is super fun.
All right, Dallas Hawk, what do you got for us? Will future iterations of Starship boosters have the hardware we see mounted on the outside somehow integrated inside to reduce drag and integral safety? Well, we did kind of talk about that earlier, about how when you're prototyping stuff, you can be a little, I guess, sloppy is one way to put it. And then once you've proven the design, you can tuck it all inside. Right, Jack?
Yep. Yeah, or even if not inside, under
Raceway.
yeah, exactly, or a fairing of some kind.
Yeah. Yeah, so what you see on the outside there, some of that is going to go away. Probably a lot of it, in fact, because you you don't really want all that stuff hanging off on the outside. I mean, like, if you look at like an Atlas V, it does have a big pipe running down on the outside of the first stage. So you know, it's possible to have stuff on the outside, but definitely not going to look the way you see them, kind of just like wrapped up, like wrapped up like a hose or something, just kind of dangling off there. That's definitely going to be cleaned up on the next go around. One of my favorite names that shows up in the chat quite often, Scroopy Noopers. How would a lunar starship land back on Earth? How would it? Would they? Would they ever do it?
It's a trick question. They wouldn't, because the whole entire thing is Starship needs those forward flaps and aft flaps in order to appropriately maintain its attitude as it comes in and scrub off enough drag. Scrub off velocity, create enough drag. There we go.
There you go.
Das, please don't be mad. I'm just kidding. So yeah, lunar starship is expressly designed to not ever come back to Earth. It can cycle, right? It can cycle between, say, a lunar orbit and a Earth orbit, or something like that. It's just not ever going to land back on the surface of the Earth. That's a trick question, Scroopy.
Yeah. Yeah, trick question. All right. Have we seen the grid fins for Super Heavy yet? Wants to know Stephen
I
Bullington.
think so. Man, I feel like that was in a daily video a little while back. I think we have seen either a super heavy prototype grid fin or a jig used to make them or something that looked like them. I know that's awful wishy-washy, but I don't want to just say yes, we've totally seen that and not be sure. I'm sure somebody in chat is going to be yelling at me right now like, yes, we have, it was this day. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yes, I think that is something that we have seen.
Let's see if we've got any questions over here on the super chat queue. Let's see. Well, I'll run through some of y'all's names because I just wanted to thank you for your support. Desmo Bluefire, we appreciate that.
The name you see pop up a lot.
Yep, yeah, and again, Musical Wolves here.
Yep.
Is B3 now the Lightning Tower, or is there something taller than B3? B3 is the Lightning Tower.
You know, the craziest thing is that when we caught that lightning bolt, I don't know if anybody saw that in the tweet, but when we caught that lightning bolt, it didn't hit the tower and it didn't hit B3. It hit the ground behind them.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. So weird.
I wonder, though, how far away it was. See, that's the thing that's tough. It's hard to tell how far away lightning is, and it could have been miles away. If that had struck, you know, much closer to Starbase, then the lightning may have decided to hit B3 or something else, the high bay or something.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The compression of distance with the telephoto lens can do that.
Yeah. Future Martian over here, Booster 3 testing, and a new 24/7 stream. Today is a good day. Yeah, you're right. We're all pretty excited about that 24/7 stream. I'm stoked that I can just tune in anytime I want, because I know that Michael and DOS, they have these screens where they can see all the different angles, and they kind of have like this overview of all the camera angles. And I wouldn't mind having that, and now I can just pull up my phone, go to YouTube, sit through the ad, which I have to do sometimes, but and then and I can check in on it myself, without having to have fancy software or something, and I think that's super cool, just internally. Even being part of the team, it's super cool that we're able to share it with everybody. But I'll tell you, me personally, I think it's really cool to be able to just look at that and see what's going on. Especially if like I see a tweet from Chris B or something, like, oh hey, this is going on down at Starbase, and then I can be like, oh well, let me go check that out right now. Richie Graham, why does it need to vent so much whilst on the ground? Wouldn't it run out of fuel on a Mars trip doing that? That is a good question. Talk about why does a rocket vent when it's still sitting on the ground?
It's boiling. No, not today,
Literally.
probably. Well, I mean, there's a frost line up there, so actually, like a normal rocket before the launch, when you see that venting happening, it's literally because as they're filling it up with the cryogenic liquids, the fuel or whatever, usually it's oxygen that's super cold. It's boiling because the boiling point of oxygen is way below whatever the normal outside temperature, or way above, I guess. Well, below, actually, I guess it's below. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
way below, yeah. Because if it's 90 degrees outside and oxygen boils at negative 100 or whatever, I made those numbers up.
Mhm.
But that's what it's doing. It's like a massive tea kettle, and if you've got a tea kettle on your stove, you don't let it do that. If you don't let it vent, then the tea kettle will build up pressure inside. You build up too much pressure, you may have a tea kettle rud, right? The tea kettle might
Right.
explode. And with what you do is on your tea kettle, you have your little vent, and as the pressure builds up inside, it just starts to whistle or whatever because it's releasing that pressure. And it's much more controlled here, as they're sort of, now we're going to release this much pressure, and then we're going to close it off again. We're going to release this much pressure, then we're going to close it off again. And it's a controlled thing. It's not like a tea kettle that just has a whistling vent on it. But it's literally because in some cases, when you're dealing with cryogenic liquids in a hot environment, 89 degrees Fahrenheit, 32 degrees, wait. Yeah, 32 degrees C. All right, I thought about that backwards for a second. I was like, wait a second, is that right? Oh, yeah, that's right. That cryogenic liquid is just boiling. You got to get rid of the pressure somehow. So normally, if you're on the way to Mars or something like that, you don't have to do that venting. There's different ways that you can maintain the pressures and stuff like that because you don't want to be getting rid of all your propellant as you're going, right? But here on the ground, the easiest thing to do, the simplest system is just open a valve and let it go. Then we'll hear some other noises as well. So we'll hear vents that are happening over on the tank farm as they move things around. They may have a line that's transporting cryogenic liquids. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow. From the tank farm to the vehicle, and they may need to clear everything out of that line. And that's another noise you may hear as they empty or evacuate a line that had pressure in it. So a lot of different noises that can happen, but it's all about maintaining and controlling those pressures. It's like an engineering balance here that they have to do as they're dealing with these super cold liquids. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And one of the things that I learned kind of recently, I don't know when, but that you can actually help maintain temperature by venting. Like when you're in space, apparently you can, if you vent just a little bit, then it will drop the temperature of the fuel inside. Right? Am I getting that right?
There's like there's an equation about that, and there's like some STP involved, and something about I think PV equals nRT if I've got my equation right. But you're right, right? Pressure and temperature are related, and as pressure changes, temperature can change, and as temperature changes, pressure can change. You're not wrong.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's PV equals nRT.
Yep.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I mean,
Pressure, volume,
temperature.
Yeah, nRT. Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah. Anyways.
Wow. What class do you learn that in? Because I did not take
Chemistry.
that class.
Yeah, that'd be chemistry, I think.
Oh, that's right. I kind of
Look at that. Periodically, we're seeing these like downward forceful blasts. Like, what is that coming from the nozzle of Raptor, or from a downward-facing vent, or what is going on there? That looks really interesting every time we see that happen.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
It actually looks like it has some velocity to it, like it's coming down and impacting the ground and then forming a billowing, a billowing cloud.
Yeah.
Sort of like if you, I don't even know what kind of analogy to make there, but you know what you see what I'm like.
Yeah.
See this?
Wow.
Was that coming out of the Raptor, or just I think maybe a vent next to Raptor, or on it?
Or on it, yeah. Not
That's
the
right
nozzle.
behind that structural piece right there, that triangle that sort of blocking our view looks like.
It's like right behind that support beam, yeah.
Yeah, something cool is happening, and gosh, I just realized the pun. Something neat is happening.
Something cool is happening during this cryogenic test.
Ah.
Oh, there it goes. Oh, I think that might be coming from a different spot. Maybe. Yeah, look. I think. Do you agree? Do you see
Yeah,
that? Does it look
it
like it's
does
coming?
seem like it's coming from a different spot than the previous one that we saw. This one looks extremely energetic too.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's
And
not billowing in the same way that the other one was.
maybe they just have a bunch of different valves on the underside of it that they're opening and seeing. But then why wouldn't it just spew liquid? I have questions. I have many
I do
questions.
too. Yeah, like I wonder if like the vents that would feed the fuel to the Raptors that would be there, like if the vents are actually there and they're just opening those vents as if there was a Raptor underneath.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally
I had
hypothetical.
kind of the same thought. That would,
Yeah.
I'll file it under plausible.
Yeah.
And look, you can see the frost line is continuing to grow on the right side of the screen there. We've got the other view, and you can see that frost line is increasing, right?
Yeah. It's definitely increasing. In fact, this is the angle where before we said that we couldn't really see the frost line so well, I think. Because the other one I think was with the sun at our back, and here we've got the sun off to our right, but still nothing at the bottom that we can tell. So maybe they are just filling the top, doing the methane tank. Here comes that billowing again. Wow. All right, cool. Let's see. Dusta1 says, any idea how high the frost line will go and how much they'll fill the tanks? Well, that kind of goes along with what we're talking about. Like we're here to learn along with you. We're not sure how full they're gonna go, how high that frost line's gonna go. So watch along with us. Stay tuned. We'll all find out together. Let's see. Nutalum says, will Super Heavy get painted when it comes to production? They're going to paint Super Heavy?
I doubt it, but I don't know. I really like the chrome look. I hope they just stick with that.
Yeah. It seems like that's been the plan all
I mean,
along.
Starship will definitely look a little bit different, kind of penguin-y, space penguin, because it'll have the black on one side and the silver on the other. Maybe some kind of thermal blanketing and stuff. Maybe it'll be like black on one side, white on the other, or maybe it'll be paint. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
Super Heavy is just gonna remain chrome, right? Because it's almost like, here we go. I'm gonna mention the space shuttle. It's almost like the space shuttle when they were painting the external tank white for was that just the very first flight or the first two? Oh God, we
I think
need
it was the
crispy or
first
G.
two. Yeah, we need
Uh,
one of them. But I think if I remember right, it was like the first two.
I don't think it was the first three. My gut is telling me first two, but I could be wrong. Either way, they did paint the external tank on the space shuttle white for. Oh, Chris, how many flights did they paint the tank white for? One or two? Are you
He
there?
heard us struggling. He's like,
They
I'm going to
paint
jump in there and save them.
they painted the first two, STS 1 and 2.
Thank you.
Okay.
And do you know how much weight that added? Like 500 pounds or something?
Oh, roughly 600 to each.
Hey, I'm not completely
Oh,
wrong all the
wow.
time. So yeah, 600
Felt like Chris
pounds.
showed up.
600 pounds is not, nothing you want to shake a stick at. And didn't Elon recently tweet something along the lines of mass penalty on the booster is 4 times as bad because of reasons or something like that? So, uh, yeah, I would be surprised if they painted the booster. But thank you
Oh,
for
yeah.
that, Chris. That's much appreciated.
You're welcome. All you have to do is say shuttle 3 times and it summons a Chris. So, yes.
You have to say shuttle 3 times while clicking the heels of your shuttle slippers together. That's
Yeah,
Well, and
indeed.
you have to broadcast the shuttle beacon in the sky as well. So you get the bat signal, the Beetlejuice, and the Wizard of Oz
look at
all
that.
in one.
Look at
Yes,
that
anyway,
vent going straight down right there. Sorry to interrupt you, Chris. So it looks
No,
like maybe that vent off the Raptor on the right side that's partially blocked, but
Yeah.
it is. I just wanted to say you guys have done a great job. I'm gonna hop back off and keep updating the article about this booster that we have coming up that Adrian has written. So I'm gonna hop back off, but I was listening. You guys are doing a great job.
we have
Alright,
Adrian
cool.
writing articles now, not just making spreadsheets. That's cool.
Spoilers. Yes.
He's probably got some
Anyway,
kind of. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say. Anyway, continue to take it away, guys. You guys are doing great.
All right, see you later. Yeah, there's probably some kind of code in Excel where you can take all of the data that you put in there and then just have it like spit out an article, right? That's the layman's point of view on Excel. I don't know how that stuff works.
I just look at the
Oh,
spreadsheet and am depressed because no want to make numbers do things.
yeah. Beer Time Continuum appropriately asks, any updates on the bar at the top of the high bay?
I think we've seen some like dance floor lights or something like that, like disco lights or something happening.
Yeah.
One or two nights that like maybe they're testing out some lighting or something, but no, I don't think any real updates to speak of other than they keep working on it. They keep putting more windows and glass and stuff up there, probably building out a floor and whatever else they need. Maybe should have used that space in the high bay for super heavy, so super heavy didn't have to be one ring short than it's supposed to be. But I digress.
What?
A bar.
Wait.
Yeah, super heavy. Remember with Booster 1, they cut super heavy off of the mount, and they wheeled it out one ring cut off. It's because the high bay is literally not high enough. I'm not
no.
quite sure how that happened or worked out, or if that's even true. But all indications are that, the Booster 4 is one ring less than Booster 1. Or sorry, oh my God, this is Booster 3. Booster 3 is one ring less than Booster 1 was. So the speculation is that is because it had to literally fit inside the high bay. So anyways, the bar, we don't have any super new info on that other than I want to get a drink there really bad,
Yeah.
and I really want to see a launch from up there. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
It looks like the frost is decreasing.
Oh,
Yeah, you're not kidding. Look at that.
So I'm going to update our timeline here.
can we see that other angle once you're done with that?
Yes.
Look, you can see ice coming off the underside there, like flakes of ice breaking off. That's super cool. I feel like this
Oh.
is me speculating, but I feel like we've seen that before. As they are removing cryogenic liquid from a tank, that ice will sort of heat up and flake off. And I'm not sure if that's the exact mechanism we're looking at right now or at all ever, but that's my gut.
I guess we don't know
Um,
for sure if they're planning on filling up the tanks all the way like we have seen them do with Starship, or at least most of the way with Starship, but that would be a lot of liquid nitrogen to fill up the entire super heavy booster, and I don't think they have enough liquid nitrogen at that
Yeah.
tank farm, because the orbital tank farm has like, I think 2 or 3 GSU tanks destined for nitrogen, and each one of those tanks is far bigger than the tanks at the suborbital site, so this might be as much frost as we see today.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I mean, they really, on the one hand, sure, it would be helpful to fill it up all the way and retire whatever risk is associated with that. But really, what we need to do here is fill the tanks with something super cold that approximates flight temperatures, and do so in a manner that all of the really particular plumbing that we're basically looking at right now is at cryogenic temperatures. I mean, the walls midway up this thing, where it's just rings and steel rings with maybe some slosh baffles or something. That's not quite as intense, or maybe I don't think that's something you would necessarily worry about testing quite so much as, like, say, the thrust puck area or the common bulkhead area. So you just need to fill it up so much, let the appropriate areas get appropriately cold, and then allow that cryogenic liquid to heat up enough that it exerts force on the structure. So probably
Yeah,
don't need to fill up the whole thing.
Yeah, because as far as like the walls of the tank, I'm sure temperature comes into play, but the main job there is to hold in that pressure, right? It's not so much. I'm not sure. I'm not a physicist or an engineer, but
But
it
you were
seems
a
like
physicist and an engineer. Sorry, go ahead.
it does seem like just like you just said. It seems like the goal of the cryogenic testing is really to test the plumbing. Make sure
Yeah,
that
that would
all the little moving parts, because you got valves and stuff in there, and you want to make sure that all that stuff works under those cryogenic temperatures.
Yeah, and what's going to be the most structurally tenuous part of the thing? It's not going to be the part where it's uniform tank walls. It's going to be the part where you have a whole lot of ins, a whole lot of outs, a lot of what have yous.
Yeah.
It's a Big Lebowski reference. I'm sorry, I'm a dork.
Oh, sorry. You know what? And I just watched that just like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. And it went over my head. Probably because I was reading this queue, trying to see where I was going to go next. And in doing so, Mr. J.C. Davis, I am sorry I did not notice this, but I wanted to thank you for this $100 super chat. That is
Whoa!
just super generous. I'm a little behind, so I hope you're still listening. Thank you very much for that. And let me get that up on the screen. Come on, work. Said, finally got a chance to become a member. You all have been such an influence on my life over the last year as we have all watched and been amazed by Starship. Keep being awesome. Well, you, Mr. or Mrs. Or Miss JC Davis, thank you very much for being awesome yourself. We really appreciate that support, and thank you for becoming a member. That's a lot of support. We really appreciate that. And then I also was scrolling through here and see that there are more members. Oh, thank you so much, everybody. Ian Glennon, we've got Colin Dodd, Ace 0048, any relation to Mr. Bond? Justin Tellen, LM Mayo, Michael Swanson, Jonathan Stillwell. I've seen that name before. Easy Runner. These are all new members. I know it's the top two tiers of the membership program get you access for the Discord. I apologize, I don't remember the names of them. I know it's like
I think it's Capcom and above. I think Capcom, Flight Engineer, and Launch. Oh gosh, the
Look at
top
that
three.
venting. Sorry.
Say what? Oh,
Look at the
listen.
venting. We're
oh,
not going to hear it because the modem decided to switch networks at the wrong time. But there it
Uh-huh.
is.
behold. Yeah, thanks everybody for becoming members.
Steven, you're supposed to do the sound effect for us. Thank you.
How's that?
I didn't hear anything.
The noise suppression
I
got
tried it too, and the noise canceling got it, and then I asked Steven to do
Oh,
it, and it didn't work.
how about this?
Nope.
Oh wow, it doesn't do it. Wow.
pretty good noise suppression.
Yeah, way to go.
I can't whistle either. I found like if I try to
Yeah,
whistle, it'll come through.
weird. Okay, well, you learned something new, I guess. Um, well, sorry, folks. I tried. It's a good thing we don't have the venting or the microphone running through that noise canceling, because just about any noise canceling software is going to think that that is noise. That's really funny. I didn't think about that. Um, let's see. Let's go back to. We've got a couple more questions queued up here. Alex Fisher. Are all of those components like COPVs and such always going to be on the outside of the aft section of the booster? Looks a little unorganized to me. And it is a question that's come up a couple times already, but I realize that not everybody's been here since the beginning, and that stuff's going to get cleaned up. In fact, earlier versions of Starship had that sort of stuff too, where they had just kind of lines and hoses and different things hanging on the outside. And as they finalize the design and construction methods, they'll get all that stuff tucked away either in a raceway or underneath the skirt or inside the tank or what have you. So it's gonna look cleaner than it already does at some point. Let's see, Zach Levenstein. Is SpaceX still planning on using any type of flame diverter? Well, as far as we know, they are not. Things change. It's SpaceX. They can change their mind and do other things. It happens all the time. We were just talking about naming conventions earlier, and things change all the time. They change. They change design. They change names. Um, But Elon said that he does not want to have a flame diverter, and that being because when you land on Mars, you don't get a flame diverter there. Oh man, that looks cool. Look at that. I can't tell if it's the one that's going right now about midway up. Is that 3 or 4 vents going on right there? Might be all alone right now. I don't know. Where's my crew at?
We're
I
busy.
think
I'm
that
busy.
yeah,
We're
it looks
trying
like
to get the
yeah,
audio back.
trying to get
Yeah.
that. Yeah, they're trying to get the audio back. I
Yeah,
just looked
sorry,
over at
I
our
had to
back
step
channel
away.
and saw. Yeah, I looked over there. I was like, oh, everybody's busy working on stuff. I'm just here yapping away.
I mean, I'm asking our member Discord if anyone can estimate the size of those vents because they are absolutely huge and super vigorous. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, super cool. Gustavo Lira, hi from Brazil. Are they planning to use Starlink as the main communication in orbital flights? I don't know. See, because I think once you get up above the Starlink satellites, once you get up above where they're at, I don't think it's going to work, right? Because aren't all of their antennas downward facing?
It depends on whether or not you have a laser.
Okay. So you
I'm,
could just point it at one of the.
I'm partially joking because there's supposed to be like an
Oh,
inner satellite to satellite laser so they could
right.
talk to each other. And if you had something like that, potentially you could talk directly to a Starlink satellite if SpaceX was doing that for you. I don't know that that's a plan, but yeah, I don't think you're going to get a lot of internet access when you're sitting next to the satellite that's supposed to be looking down at the ground talking to you.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I honestly I can't say that I know, but just you ask a question and then I just start kind of speculating in my brain, and I'm thinking, well, a lot of the time is going to be spent up above those very satellites you're trying to communicate with, and if all their antennas are pointed down towards Earth, then you're probably not going to be able to communicate with them. But there's other ways that have been used to communicate in space, and that's probably what's going to continue. I
It
don't
did
see
say
any.
they do want to use Starlink for re-entry because Starlink might have advantages over previous iterations of communication methods, like with the shuttle or capsules, where there's like a blackout period of some length of time while the vehicle's enveloped in a plasma cloud or whatever. Uh, might be able to use Starlink during that. I think they're going to do some testing for that. But yeah, when they're in orbit, that's a good question.
All right. Jeff Epstein says, so is that ring above the lower vents the division between LOX and methane tanks? And that, if I know what you're talking about, yes, that is
Yep.
exactly what that is. That is the division between the two. And I just
The
learned
common
today,
bulkhead.
and I've probably learned it before, so because I kind of felt silly for asking, but the methane is on top and the liquid oxygen is on bottom. And
No,
yes,
you
that
really
that
you really shouldn't feel silly for asking. It used to be the reverse, and
oh
right now it has been changed, and now it is the same as Starship. But for BN1, methane was on the bottom, liquid oxygen was on top, and they swapped it for Booster 3 and Booster 4 and onwards. So now it matches Starship, but it previously did not. So you're not do not there are no dumb questions here in Raptor Town, USA.
all right. What kind of name is this? Very Reverend something Peter J. Shaw VF. Sounds very official. Um, when
That's
propellant
what
gets into the
that's what VF stands for, right? It's very official.
very when propellant gets to the combustion chamber, isn't it a gas by that point? Jack, because I
Uh,
think I know, but I'm
I
not
think
confident.
I think yes, but I don't. I am also not confident. What were you going to
I
say?
was thinking when it sprays in there to the combustion chamber, I thought that it's still liquid. It's just tiny little droplets. It's like the difference between it's like water vapor is like little water droplets, and
I could I could be completely wrong, but I thought that part of the whole full flow stage combustion thing is it hits the combustion chamber as a hot gas that's ready to mix and do its thing. But I could be completely wrong. I'm gonna wait for somebody in the members Discord or in our back channel to correct me there. But I think gas. I'm not sure though. Don't quote me.
Yeah, that's. I would take your word for it more than mine, especially if you're talking specifically about the full flow stage combustion. I was sort of thinking maybe just like generally, but this is a different kind of engine, and I'll be honest, I have tried to understand it, and I don't.
Yeah, I mean, like in a Merlin engine, the RP1 is going to come into the combustion chamber as a liquid, right? Like you're not going to gasify the RP1. But in the case of liquid methane and liquid oxygen, I'm less certain that it would come in as liquid. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, someone will correct me in our members Discord or something if I'm incorrect.
All right. Ancient astronaut says, why can we see? Yeah, why can we see Raptor on B3? Usually they're up under the skirt. There's an exclamation point there. That's why I went up like that. Well, there's no skirt, or not much of one
Yeah.
on the booster on Super Heavy.
And in our member Discord, I'm being told that, yeah, when it enters the engine, it's a liquid. It goes to the turbo pumps, comes out of the turbo pumps a high pressure gas, and that's what goes in the combustion chamber. So if Michael, our member, is correct, then that is correct.
Why are the vapors so far to the right on
That's a
on the
good
ground?
question.
Yeah, good question.
It's almost like it's running towards the suborbital pad B for some reason.
Huh.
Hmm.
Keep your eyes open for a geyser. Keep your eyes
And
open on the flare stack. Can we see the flare stack in this view?
Yeah, we should.
I think it's
It's
right there in front of the cloud with that, like, no,
no,
that's
it's
road
right behind
sign.
one of the black water tanks.
Aha, good point.
and
It's
the
in front of. It's
venting
in front of. Sorry, it's in front of one of the black water tanks.
and the venting that we see right there in front of Starhopper, has that been going the whole time?
It's
Did I just miss that? Because we haven't been looking at this angle the whole time, so I'm not
no,
sure.
and we do have our audio back.
Oh, excellent.
Just happened. I think there's got to be. Someone's got to be. That was such a coincidence. I can't believe it. The space gods must be messing with us. The cool
And
venting
now,
starts and the modem goes down and it comes back right when it's done.
well, it looks like there's frost now on the
Yeah.
on the left side here.
And we have seen before, they often have a lot of venting before they start a fast fill. So perhaps that's what that was. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, and it seems like on the right side, it does seem like the frost line has continued to decrease. Yet on over here on the left side, it looks like at the base of Super Heavy, it is increasing. Interesting. I'm gonna run through some of these super chats. Hopefully, some of them are questions. I wonder if Jack, you'd be able to look over in our at NASA Spaceflight queue and pull up some of those
Yeah, I can do that.
if you see any good ones. Um, Eric Meyer, we appreciate your support there. Let's see, Archer 12 said to help Adrian's spreadsheet endeavors. Thank you very much. And I'm sure Adrian appreciates that. Michael Thompson, thanks for all the awesome coverage and the new live feed. Yeah, the 24/7 feed is awesome. So, oh, by the way, make sure you're subscribed and all that good stuff, so that you don't miss anything. And also, when you subscribe, YouTube knows that you like it, and it's more likely to just put it right there when you open up YouTube, right there on the front. That way, it's easy to find when you're trying to quickly get to that 24/7 feed. Pinochet, I think, either that or Pinochet. Thanks for the coverage. Well, thank you for the support. Let's see. Jack LaRue says, is there any idea / guess to how loud Super Heavy will be at liftoff? Saturn V clocked in at 203 decibels, which is loud enough to cause severe damage to animals. I don't know. I can't even pretend to know. I don't even know like how loud a Falcon 9 is. I know it's loud. Someone asked me how loud it is at the press site, and I'm like, it's loud. You feel it in your chest. You feel the ground vibrating. But I don't know. I mean, 33 engines igniting at once. It's got to be. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Is that enough to be louder than Saturn V. I just don't know. Oh, look at this view.
Thing
This is
is,
new.
even I think it
Could
might
be
be
newer.
louder, but it's not going to be like exponentially louder, right? It's not like every single engine makes it one unit louder. It's I think Thomas did a little bit of math there to figure that out and figured out it wasn't going to be too much louder, but it would be louder. But I'm not quite sure on that.
Roger that. Um, Bill Smith wants to know how close the mic is to the pad. I don't know if we want to talk about that.
The camera. It's the
Huh?
same as the camera.
There you go. There you go. It's as close as the camera.
Yeah.
That's how close it is. Let's see. Lindsay Abrams says, "You guys rock. Any thoughts on whether a hypersonic flight test for SN16 will take place?" We have speculated. You know, there is some speculation. Anybody want to stab at that?
I have some hopulation, which is I really hope that they do a hypersonic test flight with it. 16 is sitting there ready to go. I mean, 15 flew great. I can only imagine 16 will do the same. Send it. Send it and get the data.
Send it. All right. HC48 Boonk. I know. Sometimes on the internet we have interesting names. They should name the booster Millennium to go with the theme of Falcon/Falcon Heavy. Hey, you know what? That's not a bad idea. That one might have been sent through when we were talking about how they change their naming conventions quite frequently. Thank you for the support there. Mark Allard says, call it BFR. Big freaking rocket. Well, that's what it used to be called. And now it's Starship. I think Starship just has a better. I thought BFR was pretty cool too when it came out. It was sort of meme-tastic, but in terms of like getting into operation, I feel like you need a good name. That kind of rings true to everybody. Starship really I think has a good ring to it.
Honestly, it took me a little bit to come around to even the Starship name, but I've been binge watching a lot of Star Trek lately. And they use the term Starship and they use the term Starbase quite a lot, and so I don't know if that's like just normalized those words to me, but now I think they've grown on me quite a lot, and I'm a fan of both the term Starship and the term Starbase. But it'll always be Boca Chica to me. But hey,
Well, then you'll like this next little bit of support. Then Ace 0048 got in there again. Said when they launch Dragons, they name the ships. Do you guys think they will name the same or do the same when Starship launches crew? Perhaps
Elon say the
Starship
fifth one to go to
Enterprise.
Mars will be called Heart of Gold or something like that. Yeah, they should absolutely name ships, especially if they're just going to call it Ship 16 instead of SN16. I don't know. Just Ship 16 feels like less of a name to me, and it's like, okay, that's like the production number. What are you going to call the actual vehicle itself? Like, we're all familiar with various planes that are famous, like the Spirit of St. Louis or what have you. And often those planes have, or like Memphis Belle, right? Like planes with names is a honored tradition. Ships with names, like ocean liners and whatnot, boats, that's an honored tradition and would only make sense to me personally to start naming these vehicles when we get to a point where they're like operational or what. Because I just imagine like a native person in a country, somewhere on a canoe in a river. They're not gonna. Maybe they would name the canoe. I don't know. But at that point, it's just a canoe.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, we're gonna get vain enough to start naming these things. I don't know.
Yeah, and as far as like the Ship 16 and Booster 3, it almost sounds to me like that's one of those things that like when you work somewhere, even if like outwardly or publicly you have like the official name of something, you always have like a shorthand,
Oh yeah.
internally, and it sounds like Elon just kind of like he gave us a glimpse on sort of the internal thing. Like this is what we call it. We call it Ship 16 because it's one syllable as opposed to Starship or SN 2 syllables. It's just easier to say Ship 16
But what if
when
you want to
you're just
refer to it
in
as a
conversation.
starship, Stephen? What if I want to say Starship 16? Do I say just Starship 16, or do I say
don't-
Starship Ship 16, or do I say Star? It's just like,
I
I'm
don't
probably
think.
making it harder than I need to be.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be scolded if you call it Starship 16. Someone
Fine.
might correct you, but then you'll be like, "Look, I happen to know it doesn't matter."
None of this matters. Just go real
It
nihilist
doesn't
with it.
matter. Like you know what I'm talking about. If I say Starship 16, even if I slip up and still call it SN 16, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Fair
Let's
enough.
see. Gustavo Lira says, "Hi from Brazil. Are they planning to use Starlink as the main?" Oh, that was yeah. Hey, we already got yours in there. How'd you do that? That was a different name. I'm pretty sure that was worded almost exactly the same, I think. Well, thank you for the support. Anyway, you got your question in. We appreciate that.
For a second,
Um,
I heard you say "hi from Zil," like someone was being cool and abbreviated Brazil with like apostrophe ZIL. I was like, wow, that's really cool. But
It's
then
what we call it.
then I looked at the ticker and realized I'm just dumb. So, but I might refer to Brazil as Zil now. Forgive me.
All right. Let's see. Adam Smurf says, "Hi from above the polar circle, Tromsø, Norway. Wow. How big is that booster compared to a human? Keep up the awesome work."
Very, very
Wow.
big.
Yes. We don't have any humans on screen right now because roads are closed, pad is cleared. But if you keep watching, pay attention because in the view that we're calling danger cam, which is the one that's like obviously really close and it's kind of zoomed in on the base.
Steve,
Um,
wait, time out. It's just like danger cam. No, you got to be like danger cam or something
oh,
like
sorry,
that.
my
You got to
bad.
be. You would call it
Danger
danger cam. Yeah.
Totally.
Wow. Danger cam.
Thank you. Yes.
Uh,
Proceed.
there's a set of stairs out there. There is a set of stairs alongside the test stand. So whenever we are able to go back to that view, just look at that, and that'll kind of give you an idea of how big it is. Because, you've been on stairs before. Right?
Yeah, and you can see them right now. Even they're there. They're just extremely, extremely tiny. They don't even like the height of the safety gate on those stairs does not even reach more than halfway up the adapter that Booster 3 is sitting on. So, it's you. I mean, if a person was standing up on the suborbital pad, sort of between the adapter and the booster, they would not be the height of just the adapter itself.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. I don't think they would bonk their head on the
Nope.
base of Booster 3 if they were standing there. So yeah, this thing it's a monster. All right. And then let's see. Oh, you did it again. Gustavo Lira asked it again. Well, thank you. Just keep showing your support to get the question in. Well, and in case you weren't here whenever we answered the question, it's not really answering it because we're just kind of speculating. But I don't think that Starlink, at least this version of Starlink, will be the primary form of communication because, as far as I know, that antenna on the satellites is pointing down to the ground, and Starship will spend probably a lot of its time up above that altitude of where those satellites are. Dave Neubauer says, "I like chicken." Roger that. 10-4. I agree. Thank you for that support.
How much do you like chicken? Geez, $49.99 in the super chat there to say you like chicken.
Yeah.
You're
Thank you
crazy.
very much.
You are kind of crazy. Thanks.
Real quick,
All
it
right.
looks like is the frost almost completely gone?
On
I
the
mean, there's a
top,
little bit
yeah.
of like remnants halfway
Yeah.
up, and we're not seeing much fencing at the base. So I wonder if they're wrapping up. We'll see if
Yeah.
that road reopens or not.
Yeah, that was sort of my thinking as well. Is it sort of looks like a test occurred, and we are in a steady state post-testing, is what it looks like to me as well.
And again,
Yeah.
the
Maybe
road closure lasts until 8 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah, maybe they'll run another cycle. Maybe that was enough. We'll just have to wait and see.
It's interesting that frost started to grow on the bottom. Do you guys have any speculation why that may have been? Like if they started to empty, why would the frost start to form?
I mean, we've said before how condensation sometimes forms when you let cold gas out, but that looked like more frost in a small area. And I would think that you would have more of a uniform condensation across the entire tank when you're depressing. So I'm not sure. Good question.
All right. Well, we're learning all the time. And folks, I've been going through the super chats, and I know that it gets kind of, you know, some people don't like it when we talk about too much about super chats, but we like the support. We want to show appreciation for people that that want to support the stream and help us keep doing what we're doing. And to be honest, we would not be able to do it without things like super chats and memberships and stuff. And if you're the kind of person that doesn't like to do super chats, maybe because you like to have something tangible to hold in your hand, well, we have the NASA Spaceflight store. There's all kinds of stuff. There's shirts, mugs. I know that there's some of Mary's photos are on there that you can purchase. Look at this Starbase, a
I like the
Starbase
Starbase
T-shirt.
design,
That
because that
it's so sharp.
yeah, it has all the different things. It's got cranes, it's got the moon, the high bay boosters, hoppers in there, cryo tanks, tents. Like it's such a cool design that the store guru came up with. But anyway, keep going, Steven. Sorry, I had to say that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I totally understand. You're like, oh, I'm supposed to throw $5 just to see my question on the air. I mean, some people like to do that. Some people like to have a new hat. In fact, I've got a hat that was given to me by ULA one time. It's one of the Vulcan hats, and I love it. But I'm thinking I need to maybe get me one of these Starhopper hats or something.
Hats are apparently apparel, not accessories.
Oh, they're under apparel. Oh, well.
You say
for me.
Starhopper hat, and I immediately think of like a literal Starhopper shaped hat, which I know is not what you're about to go get, but
we need
But now I want that.
polystyrene hats shaped like Starhopper. Like
I was
those
at
like
I was at
those
an
hats
amusement
that you
park
win.
recently,
Yeah.
and they had like squid hats, like it was just a thing at all the
Yeah.
gift shops. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just an old person now, but hey, if squid hats can be a thing, Starhopper hat. But yeah, When
Yes.
Hop, that's a quality piece of merch there, and just like all of our members, thank you so much for the support. Everybody that buys some merch and supports what we do. Not only do you get to support what we do and support cool new things like the new 24/7 live stream, but
That was
you
not cheap. Just to be clear, not cheap.
get,
But
but
24/7 live stream.
yeah,
right. Yeah.
it's expensive. So the merch is one of those things that has enabled us to do what we do, and so thank you to everybody who gets it. And anytime I see somebody when I'm out and about shooting, especially down in Boca Chica, wearing some of our merch, it's both surreal and just awesome. It's super appreciated, everybody. Thank you for the support. Get yourself some swag.
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest things I like to see. Like sometimes on Twitter, somebody will tweet out something and they're like, "Oh, I got my shirt," and they have on the Texas Tank Watcher shirt or something like that, and they send us a tweet. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool," because it humanizes the link a little bit. Like here, oh, we're just blasting our signal out into space. Who's watching? I don't know. Are they real? And to see a picture of somebody and their cat, especially if the live stream's in the background, with a hat or a mug or something like that, it sort of connects us to y'all as well. So if you get something like that, feel free to tweet at us at NASA Spaceflight and just let us know what you got. So
It's
Yeah.
funny.
Cool.
It's funny that you say that. Like when this, especially with the stream on in the background, it's just because like I don't know why, but that makes me so happy too. It's like they've got our merch, they got the stream on. It's almost like Saturday morning cartoons. Like they've got the big bowl of cereal, they've got their footy pajamas on, and they're watching their favorite shows. It's just like I don't know. Maybe I'm just a nerd, but anyways, thank you everybody for.
Poster background and your hoodie on and you're all cozy up with your coffee mug and
There you go.
it's like a merch store extravagant, like an IKEA setup or something. Walk into
Now-
a little room and they've got all the merch laid out.
Now you mentioned pictures people in their cat. Now, do we have any pet apparel?
I don't think we have pet apparel unless
We
you have
need
a really
to.
big dog.
Like dog sweaters and stuff?
I think we have NASA Spaceflight dog sweaters. I'd have to ask the poor guy if that's a thing.
When dog sweater.
Win dog sweater.
Yeah, but it would need to be like a dog related, like not Win Hop, but like wind plop or something when you take your
Yeah.
dog out to go potty or whatever. I don't
When
know.
walk.
Wind walk. Sure.
When go bye bye. Okay, but let's hit some of these questions that Jack has queued up for us. Let's go to Vatsyayana. I think I may have gotten that close. I might have been close to pronouncing that right. We should clarify. The lack of a flame diverter has nothing to do with Mars, as it will only be starships there. The diverter in question is for Earth only, booster launches.
Actually,
Well, you know, that is a good point.
I threw that in there because a lot of times we hear when the discussion of a flame diverter comes up, oh, we don't, they don't need a flame diverter. They're not going to have one on Mars, so they might as well test as they fly and not have a flame diverter. And it's like, hey, well, guess what, dummy? Which includes myself because I hadn't thought about this till recently. They're not going to launch with the booster from Mars, so the booster kind of sort of does. Sorry, Das, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying we don't usually call the viewers dummy, Jack.
I was including myself in that. I'm a dummy.
I'm a dummy too. I was like, oh wait, that's a really good point.
Yeah, that's all I was getting at. Is I hadn't considered this until I read this question/comment from Vatsyana. So yeah, it's a good point. The flame diverter, the lack of one is applicable to these suborbital pads for starships, but yeah, let's see how it goes for booster testing. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Yeah, maybe they'll change their mind on that one. We'll have to see. You're learning with us. It's a beautiful thing. It's Ultima has a question. How do you guys know when a Starship event like pressure testing or static fires is going to happen? What do y'all look at that tells you something like that is going to happen soon? Well, I listen to the smart people, and I'm talking about.
I actually followed his flight on Twitter, and
yeah. Well, I was gonna say I listen to Michael Baylor. He says something is possible, and I'm like, okay, must be possible, and then I show up when I'm told to. I don't know. We do have telltale signs, like there are road closure notices that go up, and of course, Mary lives right there in Boca Chica, and she's definitely a good source of information. She lives right there. She's right next to it. She's got her finger on the pulse of what's going on at Starbase, and so that's sort of how. You kind of got to get creative, when you're trying to figure this stuff out. And, and road closures are a pretty good indication that there's going to be something happening, especially as much as we watch this stuff and we see where physical things are. Like we knew that they had already done an ambient test on Booster 3. So it's already on the stand. We see the work being done. We see, there's a road closure on Monday for noon to 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time. That is probably going to be the cryo test. And then lo and behold, yes. And a lot of it's experience. Whenever all this coverage first started, it wasn't quite that easy. But as time's gone on and we've got spreadsheets and things like that, it's become sort of an art.
Yeah, and you sort of just get the feel of the flow of these things, right? Like, we've seen a bunch of test tanks and a bunch of starships come to the launch site and get ambient pressure tested, then get cryo tested, then get cryo tested with a thrust ram, then get Raptors installed, then get static fire. Like, it's sort of a very methodical approach to this testing. And when they complete one step, it's sort of, combined with, like you said, the road closures and some other signs like that, we can sort of get a feel for, up next should be. And in this case, it was cryo testing. So here we are, cryo testing a booster on suborbital pad A. You can see in the top right now, we've got a picture-in-picture going of the roadblock. I think the idea there is to keep an eye on the roadblock and see if the roadblock is going to end, because that would signal an end for testing for today. But no indications one way or the other. I don't think that it's going to end or not, but that's our way of keeping up with what's going on over there. The good old NASA Spaceflight Robot Army, keeping our eyes on everything.
And soon, I think that one way we're going to know what's going on is people are going to start pinging us in Discord and on Twitter, because they're gonna watch the Starbase live stream and be like, oh look, this thing's happening, and we're like, oh my gosh, yes, thanks. Because now those feeds that we had been sort of watching ourselves for quite some time here are open to the public on the 24/7 stream. So we see something going on. If it's something like, oh, this is moving or this crane is moving or something like that, y'all will probably see it as fast as we do on those 24/7 feeds. So we
Right.
shall see.
Yeah, I've always found it amusing for the last year when people would DM me on Twitter or what have you, or reach out and say, "Hey, this is happening," and it's like, we know, we've got eyes on it. I can't say that to you, but we know. Trust me. Look at that. Looks like that sheriff's vehicle is backing up.
It is. On my to-do list
There we
is trim
go.
some shrubberies.
Trim some shrubberies.
Yeah.
I demand that you trim a shrubbery.
Doss's Boca Chica lawn service out there. so
We
you can
have
see-
an update from the county. As you can see, cars going. The road is open, so testing is done for today.
All right.
6:36:06. Testing over.
There you
Cool.
go.
Hopefully they got the data they wanted to. Hopefully Booster 3 fared well, and we get to see its static fire here soon. Maybe as early. There's a road closure tomorrow, right?
Yes. So, I mean, tomorrow would be fast, but it's probably. I mean, the route is installed. Have we seen methane tanks or methane tankers go to the pad? That's one thing we might have to ask Mary about, because I
That's good,
asked
yeah.
her the other day and she had not seen any fuel deliveries yet. Maybe locks either. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Of course, Mary should get a alert notice if there is going to be a static fire.
Yep.
And no word on that yet either. So we'll keep you posted on Twitter. There are road closures on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time. So when there is a static fire, we will go live for sure.
Excellent. And that's another big thing for static fires, how they put out the notices in the village. They put the actual piece of paper on Mary's door, and that usually happens the night before to give the residents, the very small number of private residents, they don't work for SpaceX. Mary's like one of the only people that still lives there, to give them notice that there will be a bigger test event, and it's like the overpressure event and stuff. So we know that there's a Raptor up there. We were looking at live views of it earlier. We know that they just did a bunch of testing today. If they're going to light that Raptor, they're going to have to put out a notice, and we will let y'all know if we see that notice.
But in the
Yeah, that's-
meantime, don't forget, you can watch the 24/7 feed. 24/7 feed. It's new. 24/7 feed. It's a feed. It's new. It's 24. It's 7.
Jack, tell us more about the. I just noticed that section they added to Frankencrane is white, because it was red and green and yellow, and now there's like it almost looks like the crane is floating from some of these angles. If you just glance at it, you're like, wait, there's a hole in the crane.
Oh,
What?
yeah, I see what you're talking about.
It's appropriately Frankenized.
Yeah, definitely. That's why we call it Frankencrane. We call it Frankencrane because that's what the workers call it. But they call it Frankencrane because it's pieced together from all of these different portions or different parts of lesser cranes, I guess. It's like the crane, but it's hard to get parts for these cranes. And it's not like this entire crane is just sitting in a yard somewhere ready to go. You sort of piece these things together, and one of the things that they were sort of waiting on here was getting some of these pieces, which is why you saw them use it in a couple different modes as they got more and more pieces available, and they made it bigger and made it bigger, yada, yada, yada. So the workers knew that it was going to be pieced together from lots of different pieces and started calling it Frankencrane. And lo and behold, it has risen once again out there at Boca Chica. So
Very cool. So do we think now it's tall enough to put that last segment up there? It doesn't look tall enough to me, but it could just
Say-
be the way it's turned.
do we have, Michael, do we want to zoom out the beach angle? A lot of people
I'm
have trouble-
already working on that. Hang
He's
on.
already doing that.
Go
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there are actually possibly 2 more sections. We saw tiny stubs that could be a 9th section, so we'll see how it goes. It might be a type of thing where they lift the final 2 sections in small pieces because it's so high. It might be easier to lift smaller chunks than to lift another large chunk.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
A lot of people get this because so many of the photos and stuff like that are from so close. And you're like, wow, that booster is the same height as the tower. How is that even possible? How is it going to fit? And you
Yeah.
get this long angle from the beach camera here, and you can really see the scale of things. The tower is a lot bigger than the
Mhm.
booster. The tower is going to get even taller. In the crane, you can see from here, the crane is now significantly taller than the tower. So does it have room for those little sort of lesser sections that they're going to tag at the top? I imagine that's why SpaceX had the contractors install the piece in it. And they have certainly done the math, I hope, on whether or not they can lift those things up. But this is a fantastic view from this sort of northerly beach angle here, where you can really see the scale. This is about a mile something away, and you can see the scale of the crane and the tower and those cryo tank shells and tank containers, the GSC stuff, and then hoppers in there, and then the boosters in there. This is just a great way to get some context. So we'll see what they lift up. They'll roll it out first, and they'll lift it up. I'm confident they know what they're doing.
Yeah. And make sure, everybody, somebody's probably already said it and I was looking at something else, but make sure that you're following at NASA Spaceflight for updates. Follow Mary, Boca Chica gal. You just, keep your finger on the pulse. You will know if there's going to be a static fire tomorrow or the next day or whenever it's going to be. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, press the like button, smash, destroy that subscribe button, or whatever the kids say nowadays.
Do that.
Not
Like,
that.
you don't have to do that. No. Wait, Bob.
Somebody does that out there, okay?
I'm doing that meme with the like cut it out,
Yeah.
what's
Well,
that
I'm
guy
doing it in jest.
It's
Is
like,
it okay if I do it in jest?
I don't know, man. It seems like one of those things that I don't know. Let's just stay
Okay.
away from
We'll talk about it later.
I love making noises.
Sounds like a deep press.
Look at that, you can see it.
Yeah, much less vigorous venting than last time. Almost like the last little bits of venting.
Yeah.
Deep press.
Just clearing it out now that they're reapproaching the pad, huh?
I think that was Booster 3 expressing its disdain for my little joke there.
Yeah, it was a long, slow sigh.
Yeah.
It's going to make that noise so that people can't hear you.
Before we roll out of here, I want to make sure to show appreciation to those that are throwing a few bucks our way and helping to keep this stream going and keep the robots going and all that good stuff. And if there's any questions, we'll just try to kind of lightning round them. Thomas Richter, thank you very much for the support. Asking about doing a vertical video for phone screens. I don't know. I think doing wide is sort of the standard. Even so, the question is, how about a special 24/7 stream with vertical video for phone screens to fit the massive long rocket better? I get the sentiment there, but we would have to physically go out there for this to do any good. We would have to physically go out there and turn those cameras sideways, because all we'd be doing to make this a vertical video is we'd just be cropping it in.
Can I jump in?
Go ahead.
Video is meant to be consumed horizontally, so saith I. Don't at me.
So saith I, don't at me.
Yeah. Yes, that's sort of the thing. Like we would literally have to like say something was too tall to fit in the screen with the camera horizontal, and we call it landscape mode. Cropping it in to fit vertically would not actually do any good. You would have to physically turn that camera sideways.
You're kidding, right, Stephen? Michael, give us Big Little if you could. If you've got Big Little set up, we wouldn't have to turn the camera sideways. We would just crop the edges.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But to do any good, to actually fit more into the frame, you would have to turn the camera sideways. You're not going to fit any more vertically.
I'd zoom it out.
I'd
fit more vertically.
But there's only so much you can zoom out.
And
then at a certain point, in photography, like I'm thinking about like when I'm trying to do a streak and I'm too close and I barely have enough frame to do it, I'll turn my camera sideways. I can fit more. I've got more top in there, right?
Yeah, I got you.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
This is something I'd have to look into. I mean, the interesting thing now is that our backend infrastructure allows us to use these video feeds. Like the feeds come in once, and then we've got a special server that actually allows us. Yeah, there you go. See, there's vertical video coming live off cam right now, and you could, if you could send that out in a vertical format, I could just crop the sides and make a vertical video. It looks like a cell phone, doesn't it?
Mhm.
But
It would be lower resolution though. It wouldn't be full res.
it would be lower resolution. That's correct.
Back me up on this, Jack.
Yeah, I got you, Steven.
You were kidding at first, like joking about having
No, I understand you can crop it in and make it a vertical video, but to actually get any extra headroom there, you would
use
have
the
to turn the camera
1920.
sideways.
Okay,
want
well,
19
thank you all for joining. I think it is time to wrap up because I am getting bored.
Michael's shutting us down.
No way.
We made Dad
Oh.
mad.
Michael, you may be able to shut us down with our commentary, but you're not shutting down the 24/7 stream.
That's
When we're
right.
done here, that other stream is gonna. You like that? You like how I did that? That other stream is gonna stay live, and that's how we're gonna be managing these things. When there's a big event or something like that, we are still doing our hosted streams just like we've always done. We're still gonna roll out the remotes. Boca Chica Gal not going anywhere. Daily videos not going anywhere. All of those NASA spaceflight things that you may have come to know and love, or if not love, at least expect. We are still going to be doing all that. This is another thing that we've got going on. It is a new way that we can extend our coverage to you. It is not a replacement for anything. So, yeah, thank you, Booster. I agree.
Right.
The daily videos, Fleet Cam's not going anywhere. All the different things, the articles aren't going anywhere. Everything that we have already been providing is still staying there, and the Starbase Live 24/7 stream is a new way that we can provide y'all with coverage for the spaceflight community. So that
Right.
is not going anywhere. But
Yeah,
I guess it's time to shut this down.
I'm gonna just
Well-
really quickly jump on that digression train and say thank you, Das. Thank you, Michael, for all the work you put in to make the 24/7 thing happen, and also
Yeah,
thank you
sure.
to Mary. Without her, we would not have been able to pull that off. Without a huge team effort on everybody's part. So thank you, Mary. Thank you, Das. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Chris G. Thank you, everybody part of the team that got this to be a thing. That's a thing. Go. If you guys don't want to stop hanging out after this, go over to 24/7. Anyways, I will shut up finally.
No.
Yeah, let's. I still want to go back. We got hung up on that first question. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Desmo Blue Fire, thank you for the $10. Cody Klebowski, Evan Beach, Gary Mileski, Sean M, Simcha Dinderwich. Let's see. Joseph Tatum, DJ Stookie wanted to know why is the big chimney smoking upside down. Thank you. It's supposed to. Jacob Marsh is a new member. Appreciate that. Dougal wanted to know, have they done any hot gas thruster testing? I don't think we know.
I don't think so. We have not
Certainly
seen
somewhere, but not
methane.
down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Tony Parkinson, Benny Haney, Michael Pennington, Christian Graff, Eric C., Stephen Kinzierski, Adeltom. Thank you. Stephen Kinzierski again. New member. Thank you very much for becoming a member. Best of Banzi Live, Rob Crawford, Don Juan, Mark Allard, Blazemonger, Stephen Kinzierski again. Thank you. So I also like chickens, what they said. Benny Haney is a new member. Roy Napora, Logan Hawkins, G. Forbes, Stephen Kinzierski. I like chicken once again. And then the very Reverend Peter J. Shaw, very Reverend, is a new member. Thank you so much, y'all. We appreciate the support. We need the support. We really do. It goes a long way in making sure that you get the best coverage that we could possibly provide. All the hard work that everybody puts in, it just couldn't happen without you guys. Everybody tuning in, and even if you don't throw super chats or memberships or anything, just the fact that you're here means the world to us. We really appreciate you guys. And remember, if you want to go,
Steve, you don't have to. Like, that's a super important thing that I want to say. Like, you show up to the stream, we don't expect you to do a super chat. You have a question, tag us. We can never get to all of them, but just put @NASA Spaceflight, and we try to mix it up. And you don't have to buy something from the merch store. You don't have to do any of that. We don't have a thing where it's like, oh, do you want to see this? You have to pay extra to see this. Like we want to share this with everybody, and it's because of the generosity from the people that can afford to support us. Tossing in $5 or $100 or whatever it is, that we're able to bring this to everybody. So across the board, whether you're doing the super chats or not, whether you're doing merch or not, whatever it is, like we do want to share this with everybody and make this available to everybody. So thank you for just showing up too, y'all.
Yeah,
Like that's
absolutely.
a big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So we
And that
appreciate
voice
all-
you're hearing, that voice
Go
you're
ahead.
hearing right there, you know him.
Hey.
John Galloway, you know him as DOS. He's
That's
been
me.
here pulling levers, flipping switches. There he
yeah.
is.
I'm doing
And
a
he's,
lot.
Go ahead.
I was doing a lot of stuff out there. We did have a lot of in-person work. I actually traveled down to Boca Chica for almost 3 weeks, installing new systems, working on things in preparation for this, and it's a lot of fun. So good time. Thank you.
Yeah. And then you've got Booster 3, been holding it down with the venting all night long till the break of dawn. Thank you, Booster 3. We also had pulling switches back there, Michael Baylor. Thank you for all the hard work.
No problem. And I am super excited about the upcoming static fire test with Booster 3. So fingers crossed it's going to happen sometime soon. We don't have the exact schedule on that yet, but whenever it does happen, it's going to be an event to see. So make sure you turn on notifications and do not miss that test.
And also, the other voice that you've been hearing mostly is Mr. Jack Beyer, photographer for NASA spaceflight.
It's me.
Jack Beyer.
Thanks for watching,
you.
everybody. Thanks for all the support. I'm really glad we could bring you 24/7 finally. And just goes to show we've got a bunch of cool stuff in the works behind the scenes, and today we got to show you one of them, and I'm super glad. It's a big day. It's a big day. And not only did we get to launch 24/7, which is a thing, go check it out, but we also got to see Booster 3's first major test, a cryo-proof, which hopefully went well. But with that, I will shut my mouth. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
And if you wanna show Jack a little more love, he does have a Patreon. What's your Patreon, real quick? I want to throw it out
Oh,
there.
don't even worry about it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to all my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Couldn't do what I do without you. But today's a NASA spaceflight day. I'm good. But you have a Patreon. Let's plug yours.
Oh, plug mine. Don't plug yours, but plug mine.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, well, I'm Stephen Marr. I'm a photographer for NASA spaceflight. I do have a Patreon. I just quit my day job, so I do have a few new supporters out there. Thank you if you're watching. I appreciate y'all. Patreon.com/SpaceCoastSteve. Go over there. I just put up a new video on how to turn a video of a launch into a daytime streak, and it's only available to my Patreon supporters.
Cool.
But with that. We appreciate y'all showing up, always showing up, and we bid you adieu.
Keep watching the skies.
24/7 still live.
We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
Chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger roll, Atlanta.
Water towers can fly!
Tango Delta nominal.
Fighting outside speed off.
Bring in, SCE off.
Yikes. You bet.
We don't need any more of these.